Hello, my name is Richard Capone. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Let's Go Learn, and today I'm going to tell you about the LGL Edge series. So first of all, we start with the assumption that all students are unique, and this is really important because a lot of programs are really more focused on students who are around grade level, but we don't make any assumptions. We know that you could have an 8th grader who's operating very low, maybe at the K1 grade level in certain areas, but they might be operating at 9th or 10th grade instructionally at another area. So we don't make any assumptions. We know everyone is unique, and that is our fundamental assumption to start with. Now, when you look at optimizing learning for students, especially with an online program like ours, it's important to hit these 3 areas: cognitive load, motivation, and engagement. And if you can address these 3 areas together, you optimize learning for at-risk and non-traditional learners. Now, there's some other additional challenges you need to keep in mind. In order to optimize it, you have to hit these 3 areas, but also a lot of students are many years below. And many students may have never been gaining 1 year gain in 1 year time. And so it's important that we accelerate learning in order to catch students up. The other factor is that a lot of times what we've done in the past hasn't worked, so we need to try something different. Our belief is that Edge 3.0 is that solution. So let me explain some of the features. So our approach, these are 6 areas that we're really hitting on to optimize learning. So first of all, unique learning path. Our assessments are K-9 in math, K-12 in reading, and they start off with a very granular diagnostic assessment, and that's how we place lessons and create each student's unique learning path. That's really interesting when you think about it because it's a fully dynamic assessment. And if you give students what they need directly where they want, this unique learning path reduces cognitive load. And this is really, really important. So this is the first major feature, and it's really, really important. The next thing is culturally relevant lessons. So when you have lessons that are diverse, that have diverse characters, they're interesting, that improves motivation and increases engagement and inclusiveness. So those second 2 boxes are checked there because that's what our lessons do, right? We don't want kids just to be watching Khan Academy lessons where they have, Sal Khan talking about stuff in math. It's sort of boring, right? So we want things that they can relate to, and that's what we do in our lessons. The next factor here is music to activate the brain. Every lesson has music, right? So we sort of explicitly teach it in animation, and then it goes into a song that helps students reinforce their learning. This reduces cognitive load because, hey, let's be honest. Students this day and age are learning through music. They watch TikTok. They play games with music. They have music on their devices all the time. So they're used to learning with music, and it really is important. And it helps reduce the cognitive load. Again, it improves motivation, and again, it increases engagement and inclusiveness. So music to activate the brain sort of hits all 3 areas. The next thing is voice, stress, and intonation. So when our author is talking about lesson, they changes their voice up and down. It emphasizes certain things. This is really important, again, to reduce cognitive load. When you need to emphasize, rise over run, right? It helps you understand rise over run. Again, intonation does that. And so that's a very important thing in all of our lessons. The author has really, really great intonation, and it keeps them excited. The next thing is multiple modes of learning in UI, in the user interface. So this reduces cognitive load. If someone's explaining what a triangle is, if I see the triangle and I hear someone talking about it and the animation's moving, that makes it easier for me to understand when I'm learning about polynomials and I can see the different components of it, or if I'm learning sight words and I see the sight words. All of that, the user interface, the multiple modes of learning really, really helps. Again, reduces the cognitive load. And again, it allows them to keep doing many lessons. It keeps them engaged. Okay, finally, the last factor I want to talk about is gamification. This is really important for motivation because students at the end of the lesson, they get explicit instruction, there's music reinforcing learning, and then they do a game where they earn points. The gamification improves motivation. Everyone wants to get more points, right? And again, it keeps them engaged. They earn badges. They try to go from bronze, silver, and gold, so it keeps the students motivated. But overall, these are the key factors that really make Edge 3.0 great. And especially for secondary learners, right? Or students who are in middle school and high school, a lot of times we think, should we have such animated lessons with music? And I would say yes, because it's especially important when students get older, because a lot of times the dry lessons they've had in the past just don't work. So all of this together, it really, really helps. And we know from the studies we've done that Edge really can accelerate learning for all students. Okay, next, let me go ahead and explain quick overview of the whole process, right? You start off with the diagnostic assessment, Adam and Dora, that creates and finds the present levels. It finds instructional points across many different areas. It finds exactly where students need lessons. From there, you could go ahead and create your own intervention plan because you have all the data now. You could have reports to share with parents. You have reports to help write your IEPs, help set goals. But that same data also drives the automated EDGE path for every single student. So if you give them automated lessons, they just go in there and they just take lessons. You can also assign lessons on your own as well. And then finally, if you want to do progress monitoring, you do quizzes, you do subtest diagnostics. Any of those new data points will automatically adjust the EDGE path. So the automated EDGE lessons, if someone passes a quiz on long vowel, it pulls any long vowel lessons out of their future lesson path. So it's all automated, but also you have full control as a teacher. Now, real quickly, just to go back, if we look at ELA Edge, first of all, they get an explicit instruction. They get a song to reinforce it, and then finally they have game practice with corrective feedback. So if they get something wrong, and then they could go ahead and try to get their scores up and keep their accuracy up. Math is the same format. You get a visual math lesson. It talks about it, intonation. Then you have music that reinforces it, and then they have the game where they try to get their points. Okay, so all lessons have these three formats. The student's interface looks like this. They log in. They have to click on the lesson that they're working on. And then as they do that, it unlocks more lessons. This learning path, by the way, is fully real-time. So again, as you do quizzes, as you do ongoing tests or formative assessment, progress monitoring, if they pass something, it pulls the lessons out. So the student is constantly, the path is constantly updated. Finally, when they finish a lesson, they get either a bronze, silver, or gold, depending on what percent correct they have. And then every so often you want to go back and get the student to go for gold. So if they had a bronze on blending, beginning blends B, maybe they take it over again to try to get up to gold. They receive certificates of achievements every so often. So that way, if you wanted to print them out, you can, or if you want to, also the badges sort of show up on the student's interface. So that is LGL Edge 3.0 in a nutshell. All right, thank you very much and happy teaching.